What's up, everyone? This is the Kingrock podcast. We have a guest this week, aka Diesel Dave. Dave Lake. How are you doing, man? From Diesel Boy.
I am well. I'm sweating.
Yeah.
But,
it's
it
been
goes.
cool all week. It's been cool all week, and then we picked the day that it was going to be like 100 to do the podcast.
Totally. Nobody in Seattle has air conditioning, so we just, a few days a year we just suffer through it.
You really don't have any air conditioning?
It rarely gets warm enough. Like once a year, twice a year, we get over like 90 degrees, and then we just suffer through it.
That's not bad, man. I've been thinking I wanted to move so bad because it's just the heat down here is just out of control, and you have to run the air constantly. We're constantly like 78 with the air conditioner, and we're paying like $1 million a month.
I'd kill for 78 degrees in the house, my friend.
Yeah. Well, I'm in the garage, so it's a little cooler there, but we do have an air conditioner, but it's like way over in the corner. But,
I'm in my little outbuilding, my little office behind the house. So not great circulation out here. It's just been baking for the last few days. But these are the things we do to promote new records and get the word out.
That's right, man.
I will suffer for all you listeners.
That's right, everyone. It's suffering to come on this podcast. All right, man. So where have you been, dude? What's been going on?
And I assume you're asking about the 20-year plus
the
hiatus.
20-year hiatus, yes.
Yeah, I've been just living life. I sold out and got a real job. Got married, had kids, got divorced. Being a sort of regular, boring.
Doing life.
Middle-aged dude. Yeah, I just turned 50 this year, so that was a big one.
Okay.
And for a lot of years, I think a lot of us were just done. We felt like it had kind of run its course. We had kind of, we'd kind of done it, and there was several things that kind of were happening towards the end. But I don't know. It just felt like maybe things had run its course, and for a lot of years, I didn't have interest in revisiting the band, and but over the years, we all missed it, and it's lovely that there's still a vocal minority of fans out there who are wanting us to get back together and do stuff, and labels out there willing to put out our records. And so I think the thought was, well, we're busy, we've most of us have families and other stuff going on. But we thought, well, if there's a way that we could figure out to like just sort of add this into our life without being a slave to it, and just kind of do it part-time and when we want to, and, sort of on our own terms, then let's do that. And so, when we started talking about it more seriously, we thought making a record was sort of the best path for sort of relaunching things. And we had tried several years ago, or a few times over the years, to kind of make this record or some version of a comeback record. And it was challenging. So towards the end of the band's run, I took a job at amusic.com in the Bay Area. And that, while I was working there, it got bought by Microsoft, and I relocated to Seattle. I've been in Seattle for the last, since 2000. So almost 25 years. So geographically, it was difficult because I was the only one in Seattle. Yeah. I don't know, for whatever reason, we couldn't get it together to kind of finish the record. And then over the pandemic, Greg, the original bass player, and I just kind of started talking more about whether we could do it and whether it was viable, and do we want to do it, and how would we do it. And we both seemed motivated to want to do it. And I thought it would be easiest if I found other guys up here. Our drummer, wasn't interested in doing it. And, not everybody from the original days was sort of in a place in their life or sort of wanting to do it. We're all still friends. It's all good, but
that's cool.
But everybody, not everybody wanted to do it. So I found guys up here in Seattle. And so there's 3 of the 4 of us live in Seattle. And then Greg flies in for rehearsals and all that stuff, or, we're still kind of figuring that out. So it's a little challenging, but technology has helped. We can demo on, send the demos around. Everybody can learn the songs without having to be in the same room initially, and
that's pretty
record
awesome.
their stuff. And So anyway, that's the long version of where I've been the last 20 years. I've got 15-year-old identical twin boys. So,
okay.
I'm busy. They're learning to drive. It's insanity.
Oh my gosh. 2 of them learning to drive at the same time. That's crazy, man.
It's nuts.
Do you have to give them separate cars, or are they going to share the same car?
They will not each be getting their own car. No, sir. They'll. I don't know. They'll have to work it out. I don't know.
Unless they work. Yeah. Okay. That's cool.
That's a them problem, not a me problem.
Yeah. Right on. That's cool, man. So what do you do for music.com? What is that?
Well, I know. I mean, this was by now. This was 20 years ago. They were. It was a company called Mongo Music, and they were kind of doing what Spotify and all the other music services do now, except they were 20 years too early, or at least 10 years too early. I was hired as a music expert, and I would listen to songs, and I would input a sort of complicated tangle of data on a song. So I would like tap the tempo on the keyboard, and is the singer male or female, and what genre is it, and what subgenre is it, and what are the background vocals like, and what is the singer's voice like, and what's the time signature. And so we would match songs based on that data to other songs. And now it can all be done via AI or whatever, but back That's then crazy. Us humans were doing it. So it was a weird, fun, wild kind of job, and they would spend the money that they raised going to the record store and just buying like shitloads of CDs and ripping them. And then we would just sit at our desks, like listening to music. But you'd have they'd get like the entire Metal Blade catalog. And then for, 2 or 3 days, it was just like live Lizzie Borden records, nonstop, or weird, or, new age stuff. But I got to listen to a lot of music. There was a lot of cool professional musicians there.
That's cool.
And then, I worked at Microsoft for about 10 years, working on various projects there: music, movies, TV content.
That sounds really cool, man. So you've still been around music. That's pretty cool.
I have, yeah.
So have you been like just itching to get back, or is it like, has it slowly built up, or were you just like? I mean, like obviously the pandemic, everyone was kind of like trying to get back, like trying to start things. Like there's a band Fire Sale. I don't know if you know who they are.
Yep.
Chris Swinney and Matt Riddle from Face to Face got together. That's pretty cool, band. And I think that's pretty cool that they use the technology also to just get everything together, because nobody's even close to each other in that band, So like that's pretty cool to hear that you guys are kind of doing the same thing. Are you guys like using Zoom or anything like that, or?
Yeah, I mean, we Zoom to have band meetings, but I've heard that there's like latency issues. I don't know how we would do a proper practice, over the internet. So for the old, like we just came back from a European tour, and so for the learning the catalog, Greg already knows those songs, and he can practice to the records and just sort of make sure he's up to speed. And the new guys had to learn them. So for the older stuff, it's a little easier because there's the live arrangements don't change all that much. There's like subtle things here and there, but that's easy enough to sort of solve when we get into the same room. And then for the stuff on the record, it can be a little more challenging because the demos aren't necessarily arranged properly. It's just sort of all the parts, but at least it's a good enough way to at least learn the parts and learn the songs. And so the three of us who are up here would work on the arrangements and work on the stuff together. And then sometimes we would just make a recording on our phone, send it to Greg, so at least he'd have a version to kind of play along to.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I saw a couple of videos from you guys playing in Europe, and I mean, you guys sounded great, dude. Like, you guys haven't really missed a step. And I mean, I saw you guys way back in the day at the showcase in Corona a couple of times.
Love that place.
So, yeah. Oh man, it's such a bummer that it's gone.
I know. It's just I found a flyer. I found a flyer that I posted on social media that I think was like the first time we ever played there, which was before we were signed. And I don't know how we managed to get that gig, but you rolled up and it was like in this sort of strip mall, and you're like, "What the hell is this place?" And then you go in and it's like it was packed like every night with these awesome fans. That place was great. I missed that place. We had great shows there for sure.
Yeah, it's such a bummer that it's gone. I think they're like knocking it down. Like, I mean, that was like a second home for most of us over here. I'm the like Inland Empire, so like that was our shows every Friday, Saturday, even Thursday nights. So we were there all the time. I mean, I remember seeing you guys. I'm really excited to see you guys play there a couple times. I think that flyer that you posted, you guys played with the Aquabats and like Guttermouth or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
pretty
Aquabats,
sure I was there at that.
Oh, Whitecaps, I think.
Oh, the Whitecaps. That's right.
Yeah.
The Upland band, dude. That's I'm actually from Upland. They used to play all the time over there, man.
I mean, we played there on our tour with Strung Out, and we probably played there 4 or 5 times. But yeah, I was always awesome. Met Bob Becker from Fearless there, I think, at that first show, and started a relationship with him. And then he ended up putting one of our songs on that Punk Bites comp, sort of through that connection.
That's the best one. Lime Green, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That started off with one of the coolest, like, well, just funny, like, prank calls, which if the kids are out there,
I don't remember what did it start. The whole compilation started with a prank call.
Yeah, it started with a prank call. You guys were the first song, and I didn't know if it was like attached. I didn't know if it was you guys who put that out. I've always wondered that.
God, was it? It's been so long. Now I have no idea, because that was was not the version that appears on that. I think is not the
different
version. Yeah, I think that was from our demo that we ended up making so some of that became the strap-on 7-inch for Fat.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I guess that song ended up on that comp, but it's been so long that I don't know. I'll have to go. Maybe it was. We did listen to a lot of prank calls in the van and stuff like that, so it's possible. I don't remember.
They're Jerky Boys. That was like the best thing.
Yeah, totally.
Then. No, it started off with you hear the phone ring, and then a lady picks up and she says, "How may I help you?" And then you say like, "Oh, I'm applying for the something," and then. Or she goes, "What position are you applying for?" And
doggy style. Yeah. Now it's vaguely familiar. Yeah.
And then she asked like 3 times, like, "What?"
Still makes me laugh. Still makes me laugh. And I'm 50.
I just listened to it like probably like 10 minutes ago. Oh man, I was cracking up. Was that you guys, or was that?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't remember.
That's cool. I remember Zoinks had one too. Do you remember that band Zoinks? They're on Dr.
Reno.
Strange.
Yeah,
from Reno. That's right. They're actually doing like they're playing a reunion show coming up in like October.
Nice.
For Dr. Strange,
awesome. Yeah.
Oh, that's another one of my favorite bands, and I feel like you guys and them, you guys were like kind of like the underdogs, like the band that like, because you guys were from away, like we had all these Southern California bands, but it's like you guys came from up north, and I remember I had a conversation with you one night. I mean, I was like 16, 17 years old, and I was like, "Where are you guys from?" And I think you said, up north. And I was like, "Oh my God, that's so far away."
Yeah. We were from the like North Bay Area, the wine country.
Yeah.
So even like in Bay Area terms, it's like an hour north of San Francisco, basically.
Yeah. And I remember I had a conversation. You sold me a Kingrock shirt.
Okay.
I was trying to find it because I was gonna say, I remember you saying like, "Oh, if it doesn't fit, like you could take it back or like if you next show comes around, just."
Oh, that was nice of us.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say like if I have it now and I'm like gained like 200 pounds, so I was gonna say, "Hey, it doesn't fit anymore, man. Can I get a refund or something?" But
I think the return period has expired. On the shirts. I'm sorry.
Oh man, I really wish I could have found it too. That was one of my favorite shirts because it used to piss everyone off, man. You go to high school with it. And it would just
we're making them again. If you Epic Merch Store, we have got a deal with Epic Merch Store, and one of the designs they wanted was that Kingrock cover, so we still have that, or we have it again.
I had it in that olive green or mountain green color.
I remember that shirt. Yeah.
I think I had like two shirts that weren't white or black, and that one was green, and I had a Guttermouth shirt that was like bright ass orange.
And I wish I had we had so many shirts over the years.
Yeah.
I'm regretful that I didn't keep a copy of all of them, because some of them were great, or I see them show up on eBay and people are selling them for like crazy money. I'm like, I wish I had a copy of all the shirts, but I just didn't think to keep them back then.
Oh, you guys have amazing, all your like album covers are fucking amazing.
Thanks.
I don't know if you guys got them done from the same people. It seems like at least the second and the third one might have been done from the same.
Well, the Venus Envy is like a Botticelli painting, so I forget who put that together. I think the same person did the first one and the fourth one. We had a guy called Brian Clark did the painting for the Sofa King Cool album, which a few years ago bought back from him. So I've got it hanging in the house now, which is nice.
That's awesome. That's really cool. That's
paid
really
for
cool.
it twice.
Oh shit.
Well, I mean, we paid for it for him to paint it originally, but we didn't belong to us. So when he was getting rid of some stuff, I was like, it's going to pain me if somebody else buys this and it's not me. So
fuck.
So I bought it.
Damn. So so you guys took 20 years, man, off. And some of the other notable bands that have taken 20 years off are the Eagles, Psychedelic Furs, Black Flag, Funkadelic, The Who, The Cars, Pixies, Marvin Gaye, Pink Floyd, and Devo. So you're in good company.
We fit right in there perfectly.
I mean, Black Flag, that's pretty fucking close. There you go. No, you guys, I've always admired the wittiness of the songs, but then you also have like that, like a lot of unrequited love songs. Like it just reminds you of the 80s movies kind of thing. And but it seems like you have a love for metal music. I think we might even talked about that back in the day. And you guys even did a cover of Motley Crue's "Looks That Kill."
Yeah, that's not my favorite.
Metal.
It's not my favorite thing we've ever recorded. Motley Crue. I mean, there was at the time they asked to do that. Like all the good songs had been taken because there are definitely some metal songs that I think we could have done better than "Looks to Kill." But I was a teenage metalhead. Grew up, I grew up in Los Angeles, and all that stuff was happening on the Sunset Strip. It was like the epicenter of 80s metal. We had a hard rock station, KNAC, that played all metal all the time.
95.5, dude.
Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, to the hair metal stuff, Bon Jovi, Motley Crue, Cinderella, all that stuff. Which I tried to capture in the song Cock Rock, which is not on the album Cock Rock. It's on the next one, Venus Envy, but
the first song on the next one, right?
Yeah, and I think that was kind of the, in a way that song became a little bit of a template. Like there are definitely other songs in the catalog where, it's like a laundry list of stuff that I like or that we're talking about. So, but for sure grew up on all that. I, every once in a while, still on my, on satellite radio, I'll still throw on the hair metal station or whatever and just sort of relive my youth.
That's cool. That's really cool, man. What was what was like one of your favorites? Like, did you have like a favorite that, like Metallica?
For sure, Metallica. Motley Crue I got into first. So somebody brought Shout at the Devil cassette, I think, into, I don't know, 5th grade class or something. And I remember looking at it and being confused about whether they were men or women, but I just liked it somehow. I was like, I'm not sure what this is, but I like it. All the leather and the fire. And I was like, this is cool. Like Beavis and Butthead, this is cool. And from there, I think that same person turned me onto that radio station. And I definitely gravitated more towards, I guess, like the poppier stuff. But, it was probably maybe right around the time Master of Puppets was released. And so, I mean, I was super into Master of Puppets. I mean, what a fucking record still.
It's a good one.
And Judas Priest, Maiden. I was a big Maiden fan. All that stuff. I mean, I loved it all. There wasn't much that, I wasn't the most discerning, fan. I ate it all up, just loved it,
Yeah. Did that lead into punk rock?
Not directly. I didn't get into punk rock till like my freshman year of college. So I had a roommate my freshman year of college who was also named Dave, which was annoying. And he turned me on to Bad Religion, Against the Grain, and Green Day, Dookie. But he put on Bad Religion, and I was just like, whoa. I was like, oh, it's so fast, but had so much melody. And I was just like hooked instantly. And so combination of that and Green Day, were still like a local band at that point. So they played all the time. They were accessible. The songs were just so catchy and great. That spoke to me too. And then I was the music director of my college radio station. So just through being a DJ and through music director, I really got connected to that world and that scene. And that actually eventually led.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say that eventually led me to doing internships. I was a communications major, but since I was, a music director at the radio station, I sort of knew some people at some of the labels. And so one summer I interned at Epitaph Records because I grew up in LA.
Sick.
So when I was home for the summer, I interned there, and then that eventually worked at Fat as well, like in the early days. And I remember when I called down there the first time, Erin, Fat Mike's wife at the time, maybe they were still married. I don't know if they were married or divorced then, but she was like, "Oh, well, we've never had an intern before, but I'm sure we can figure it out." I was like, "Okay, cool." So yeah, I did I learned less from college, from the classes than I did just all the, extracurricular stuff, working at the radio station, doing those, working in the business and whatnot.
That's cool. Did you meet anyone like from Epitaph or Fat that you're still friends with now, or like still like you met other band members?
At the time when I was working at Epitaph, I worked for a guy named Jeff Abarta, who the song "Jeff Wears Birkenstocks" by NoFX is about. And that song didn't exist yet. No, I mean, we're friends on, social media or whatever, but nobody that I still talk to. And then back when I was at Fat, I worked alongside Chris Shiflett, who's now a Foo Fighter, and who, shortly after that sort of joined No Use. And, same deal. I mean, we're not like close friends, but certainly, friendly-ish.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I know Scott. I know Scott pretty well.
Yeah,
like, we talk here and there. So
cool.
Yeah, I was supposed to have him
Love
on.
Chris. Chris is great.
Yeah, I haven't met Chris yet, but Scott, dude, like, and those guys are such amazing musicians, dude. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen Scott's like channel on Instagram where he's like just shredding on bass or guitar or whatever. It's insane, dude. I'm like, I think the other brother, I feel like Scott might have one up on Chris, but
yeah, well, probably they have that sort of healthy sibling rivalry or whatever, and sort of push them both to be, good musicians.
Yeah. It's cool. It's cool to see. I wasn't never a huge fan of like the Foo Fighters, but when they got inducted to the Hall of Fame, it was cool to see them like kind of give shout outs to like all the punk rock roots and all that stuff.
Totally. And really, there are very few rock bands at that level. Like, if you had to pick a band that was going to play stadiums, like that's the one you'd want to be in.
Yeah, all seem like cool dudes too. I mean,
totally. I mean, they got Pat Smear in that band.
Pat Smear seems like a sweet guy.
Dave's a punk.
Yeah, and now they got Josh Freese on drums, like the greatest drummer of all time. So it's like, that's insane, dude. But yeah, man. So you okay? Anytime I hear Survival of the Fattest, I think Survival of the Fattest might be the greatest punk comp or any compilation of all time. And you guys are sitting there sixth, right behind Lagwagon and right in between Good Riddance. And it's like, anytime I hear Titty Twister, I immediately sing right after the Good Riddance song. Like it's stuck in my brain, dude.
Yeah.
But it's crazy too, because Titty Twister on Cock Rock is True Drew is right after that, and that's also one of my favorite songs. But I can't Survival of the Fattest was just like that was in the car, like in every one of my friends' cars. Like we all had it, and it was just like anytime your song came on, it was like the drinking song. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten drunk from that song, just from that track, from that compilation. Like I can't tell you how many good times have been had from hearing your song. Like as soon as that comes on, it was like the party song, dude.
Well, thank you. Yeah. I mean that.
Oh, thank you,
man. That compilation, put us on the map, really, and it's still, by a country mile, our most popular song, and it's like as close to a hit as you could have in punk rock. They gave those they must have made hundreds of thousands of those, and either sold them or for a couple of bucks or gave them away. Everyone had that thing, and to this day, if you go to any of those band shows that are still playing, the song that's on that comp is like last or second to last, or right in the back. So all of those songs for sure. I mean those things were. I guess that's what it was designed to do, but that is how people heard about new bands. And, there wasn't Spotify, there wasn't other ways. So what a great way. You could hear all the bands on the label, and almost all of them got popular from those compilations.
Yeah. I had every compilation, and it's crazy. When I met my wife, she had every compilation. So it worked out great. And then the crazy shit is, one night we went to go see the show in Pasadena, and there's this band that El Jefe and his wife own the Cybertrax record label, and they had a band on there, and they were playing the show, and they played that whole CD compilation straight through. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
It was like the cool. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's how awesome that compilation was. And I want to say that you guys probably have the best track on there.
Nice of you to say. Thank you.
I mean, honestly, like that one. I mean, there's so many good tracks on there. I mean, Me First covers the. I mean, dude, there's a couple good covers on there. There's Country Roads, and there's also California Dreamin' is on there.
So our song is so dumb, but I think that's what people like about it. It was meant to be dumb, I mean, that was. I mean, that's what we wanted to capture. That just sort of like, I'm wasted and embarrassing myself at a party and making an ass of myself.
Well, you guys always threw wit in with good. Like, the writing was good. It wasn't like cheesy. Like, and I could say that about like almost all the songs you guys write. It's like you guys write on that border of like, there's no cheesiness, and it's like all heart, and it's like witty and funny, but it's also serious, and it's like a good time and just like lighthearted shit. So it's like, sometimes I'm gonna listen to Propaganda, and then sometimes I need a fucking break, and I'm like, oh, thank goodness there's Diesel Boy, and like other bands like Diesel Boy. Oh yeah, man. You guys in Zoinks too, like I said, like very similar to me, kind of have that wit, have that heart. And dude, I gotta say, this new album is fucking amazing, dude. Like,
thank you.
Like at first I was like, oh yeah, I mean, I'll throw it on. I'm so stoked that you guys are back. Hopefully it's gonna be, even half as good as like some of the other albums. It's the best. I think it's the best album that you guys have put out.
Thanks. I've been so, I mean, it's so nice. I'm so glad that people like it. And like, we keep reading these great reviews, and I'm like, this is weird. We never got good reviews. Why all of a sudden are we getting good reviews? This is odd.
Yeah. Well, the scene is a lot different, man. The scene is a lot different. I don't know if I know you've been around music a lot, but have you been around like the punk scenes like since, or like stayed away?
I don't go to a ton of shows. I got kids and I'm old, and I, played so many shows in my life. But if friends come to town, for sure, I'll go to shows, or, every once in a while I get out of the house and go to shows. We played we played a couple of warm-up shows here before we went to Europe. And we just did like 10 shows in Europe. Totally. The scene is different. And, I think our whole idea was to try and make a record that our fans would like, or there was enough stuff that they could hold on to, but also to try and, step out. We didn't, just step outside of, maybe what we've done before, and try and sound a little more grown up, or a little more something, I don't know. I mean, it's a fine line between wanting to sort of like have it sound like a Diesel Boy record and not go too far afield. So I'm glad that people, thank you for that. I'm glad you like it.
Oh yeah.
And I'm glad, people seem to dig it, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's great, man. I really feel like you guys have, like you hold on to that same sound, but it's like you do try a couple new things. It seems like here and there, a little slow down a couple songs. I mean, you had a couple of slower ones on the other albums, but you're right. Like when you say more of a grown up feel, I was trying to think. I was like, what is the word I'm looking for? And I was like, is it mature? And I was like, it's not mature. It's more like you said, like it's grown up. Like you're still kind of like the same dudes, but like you're talking now more about like grown up, like life and stuff. It's not so as much as like mature as like, you're talking about like politics, or like or stocks and bonds.
Well,
and shit
you
like
had talked, you said at the beginning, that we had a lot of songs that were, like romance gone bad, or heartbreak. And I've definitely found that as I've gotten older, not that there's a few songs that ride that line, or that are sort of along that theme on the new record, but for the most part, that was much harder for figuring out topics to write about and coming up with ideas. As I've gotten older, I'm just not in that same headspace. And so yeah, the things that interest me as a 50-year-old are different than they did as a 25-year-old.
Yeah, well, I think I mean, the way it's written, the album's written, I mean, it's so fucking good, dude.
Thank you.
There's not like a fucking downer on any of the, there's not like a skip track, none of that. There's no filler on it. Every track is gold. And it's like, dude, dirty. Like the first song, it's like a welcome back. Like, here we are.
Yeah.
Lost decade. Yeah. I like how you said, does anyone care? Or, is it a reunion or, whatever. And you say, like, we're going to call it a new dawn.
Is it a reunion if no one cared we were gone or that we're back?
Yeah. I love it, man. And it's
it was a legitimate question.
Yeah, for sure. And it works out great too. Like, and the way you put it, like, as the first track, I think that's like, hey guys, we're back. Here we are. And then you come out like right after that, Dirty Dishes. Like, that song is right after Titty Twister for me, man. Probably even above it now. Like, but I mean, I've had so many good times. It's like there's nostalgia with Titty Twister, but it's like, Dirty Dishes is incredible, dude. And like and just every song after that is just banger, 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 banger. Like, Finish Line is good. I'm not really good with track names, so like I'm just gonna have to. I didn't write them down or anything, but like Finish Line is great. Viking Funeral, Funeral too. The start of it, it sounds. Every time I hear it, I think I'm going to hear that Butthole Surfers song. It's got that.
I don't know the song.
Oh, it's they had a famous one, like something coming down the mountain. It's like, Beck kind of did it, but the intro has that same sound. That like, oh,
it was supposed to be like a Viking war horn.
Yeah. That's what, and I'm like, I'm wondering if that's what the Butthole Surfers sound was, because they were so like inventive with sounds and all that. So I was like, I bet you that's what it was.
Downloaded a Viking war horn from the internet and was like, okay, the Matt Bayless who produced it. I was like, we want to have a Viking war horn. All right, find one and send it to me.
Yeah.
So, it was as simple as that.
That's cool, man. That track's really cool. Every time I hear it, I'm like, just waiting for that Butthole Surfers song, and then I'm like, oh shit, like, that's cool, man.
A little different for us too. It's a little darker, kind of minor key, song.
Yeah, it's a little darker. It's cool, man. And then dude, and then you guys taught me some stuff too on this new one. That
fantastic.
The Turk is great, man.
Yeah.
I had to look it up. I was like, what is this song about? Like Ben Franklin and all this. And then I had to look it up, and it's about a robotic chess player, right?
Yeah, except it was way before robots, but basically there was this machine that it looked like the top half was like this kind of body, and it looked like a human like
you look like Zoltar.
Yes, totally. It has these arms, and so there was a chessboard, and somebody would make a move, and then the Turk, his hand would pick up a piece and move the piece, and basically this whatever you want to call it, this robot like beat all the world's best chess players, and nobody could figure it. And they would open up underneath, and there would be all these like gears and like shiny things, and hidden behind a curtain was like a dude with candles who could move the arms and see all the chess pieces. So like they had this amazing chess player hidden inside this cabinet that looked like but nobody knew that, so it blew people's minds. Like, this was, I forget what, maybe the 1700s or whatever, blew people's minds. They were fascinated by this, this thing that they thought was like the height of modern technology, this robot that could beat the best chess players in the world. But turns out it was just a dude underneath, a chessboard, fooling people.
In the 17, like, dude, you're right. Like, the last player it played was Benjamin Franklin, and it beat Benjamin Franklin. Like,
Napoleon got pissed.
Such a cool story.
Hit all the pieces off of the board.
Where did you hear about this?
I don't remember. I must have been watching something or reading something, and for whatever reason, I like a good hoax.
Same here.
So that part appealed to me, but also that it was seen as the kind of height of technology. We're sort of we straddle that line right now as AI comes in to replace people, and technology is evolving so fast. And And part of what I liked about in reading probably some of the same stuff you did about the Turk was that like it fueled innovation. Like people were inspired by it, and they built like the power loom and telephones and all kinds of things were sort of built in the wake of people seeing this thing and wondering what else they could do.
That's insane, dude. There has got to be a movie about this.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's so cool.
When we were in the studio, Matt, I forget which the other songs were, but there were a few songs where he was like, "Oh, that's one of your history lesson songs or whatever," which is basically true. But yeah, it's funny.
Well, hopefully, like people like dig deeper on that one because like at first I just heard it and I just listened to it and just was singing along to it for I'm telling you, I've listened to this album probably like a good 100 times at least, and I'm that's not even. I'm probably
That's
shooting
awesome.
under. Yeah, it's so good. Man.
I love that. I love
too.
that it inspired you to go find out more about the song. That's awesome.
Oh, I mean, yeah. After I sang it, like after like 5 or 6 times, I'm like, who is the Turk? And then my wife is a history major and she's a history teacher, so I was like, maybe I'll ask her. And then she wasn't home, so I just looked it up. Did the what we all do is like grab our phone and check out. What it was, and dude, sure enough, man, I was like, after I'm scrolling through, like, it's not about this chess thing, it's not this thing, it's not this robot, and then I'm like, because I'm thinking it's like some historical figure, and then I was like blown away, man, and the story, that's one of the coolest stories I've ever heard.
So I liked it too. I was fascinated with it too. Yeah,
that's really cool, man. And so dude, like I said, every track is just like, how long did it take you to write this? Because you guys got signed to SBAM, SBAM. I'm pretty sure that's how you SBAM. And
we had to ask.
In 2001, but the album didn't come out until this year. So like, we didn't get signed as SBAM in 2001. So we signed to them when we had, we were going to make the record. So yeah, some of these songs go back 7 or 8 years, maybe even a little bit longer. They go back to the first time we got as far as like we maybe wrote 10 songs the first time we tried to get this record over the finish line, and some of the songs are from that first batch, and then some of the rest were written, right up until the pandemic or whatever. So it sort of runs the gap. It was a fairly wide span of time that the record was written in. One of the, I guess the biggest challenge when we sat down and set out to make the record was, how do we get all these songs from this, sort of wide span of time to kind of sound unified and sound like a record. So I think that was one of the hardest things about making the record. Figuring out which ones, and there's a couple that we left off the record that we'll do as a 7-inch in a few months. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, it seems very cohesive too. Like it just goes from track to track, dude. It's like it's seamless, dude. I'm really stoked on this album. There's only one album that I would say that's even like only better than this album this year, and that's the new Co-Defendants album. It's fucking off the. I don't know if you heard it yet, but they're on Fat too.
Yep.
And fuck, man, it's so good. I'm like a hip hop guy too. Like I like underground hip hop a lot. And it's like, I would say your album would be better, but it's like they're doing something new. So I'm sure you don't want to hear all this shit too.
I know. Hey man,
it's fucking great. Yeah.
Glad you like it. Where it ranks in your list, I don't give a shit. I'm just glad you like it.
Yeah. I'm really hoping I've been telling everyone about it, dude. Like everyone's got to go check it out and fucking killer. You guys have any like more shows planned for like later this year or next year?
We're still, yes, but nothing confirmed. The idea is that we're going to do one kind of bigger trip a year. We just came back from Europe. So, over the summer, we'll probably do one slightly longer thing. And then throughout the year, we will likely do weekend flyouts and festivals. So we'll do like Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, and then come home. And so we're just we did Portland and Seattle to warm up for our tour. Cool. And so we're just working on, kind of our first set of dates, in the next couple of months now. So in the next few weeks, we will likely announce, our next set of dates. It'll take us forever to get everywhere that we want to go, because we're only going to do it a few times a year. So be patient. We,
Yeah,
may
for
take
sure.
us a while to get to your neck of the woods, but we'll get there eventually.
That's cool, man. Now you guys have played you guys played from 95, 93 till like whatever. I mean, you guys are still playing, but is there any bands that you guys haven't played with that you've always wanted to play with that are still playing? Is there anything like that out there?
I mean, we've played with most of the punk bands from our era. We've played with at some point. And sometimes it feels like, well, does a festival count if we're all playing at the same festival? Does that really count? I don't know.
That's a good question.
Nothing I can, I think the thing that would be cool for me would be something that was, that had to like sort of harken back to my childhood. Like if we opened for Metallica or Motley Crue or, did a gig with, whatever metal band it was that, I grew up on. I think that would feel especially meaningful. Whereas, most of the punk bands feel like my peers, but there's something about those metal bands that I grew up on that's like, oh, like that feels different, even though it's not, but it just feels that way.
Yeah, that'd be fucking cool, man. I could see you guys playing on like they have all these like festivals now where they're playing, they're like changing, like have so many different genres. Like that's something that definitely wouldn't have happened back then. Like
totally. Yeah, these festivals didn't exist at all back then. I mean, they had the Warped Tour. But that was about it. There weren't festivals really to play on like that. Certainly not punk specific festivals. We just came back from Europe and 3 of the shows were, big punk festivals. It's awesome. Just several days of nothing but punk bands, and there's thousands of people there. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's fucking
good. They'll bring their kids.
That is cool, man. Yeah, and I heard you on the Mike Herrera podcast, and you were saying that your kids went to a show with you to go see, who was it?
Bowling for Soup.
Bowling for Soup, yeah, and
maybe a Real Big Fish or something.
Yeah, and you said they haven't seen you play yet. Or have they seen you play in those warm-up shows?
When we were here, I was like, "Do you guys want to go?" And they were like, "Eh." I'm not gonna force them to come. One more responsibility I got to deal with.
That's true.
A day of show, but I mean, they're just. I came back and I forced them to watch a few videos of us, and they just don't care. They really just don't. I mean, I think they think it's cool on some level, but. Yeah. Your dad is never cool, no matter what their job is and no matter what they do. So they just don't, they'll tolerate me, going into my bedroom with the acoustic guitar to practice something, like they know that I'm doing music and, that stuff is happening, but they just don't care. They just don't.
That's so funny.
Now, if I were doing a show with, I don't even know who, I don't even know who they listen to say, but if I was doing some show with some rapper, that would probably blow their
Post Malone or something like that.
I think he's probably too lame for them too. I like Post Malone. He's one of the few I sort of know, but I don't know. I mean, it's what everybody they just finished their freshman year of high school. All their friends, that's what the kids listen to. It's all sort of like hip hop.
Dude, it'd be funny as hell to like you guys did a music video for that first track and the intro is you explaining to your kids, back in my day.
Well, it's funny because one of the songs that's not on the record that will come out on the 7-inch is called Punk Rock Minivan. And it's not a true story, but sort of a fantasy of a true story. But in the song, I'm basically taking my kids in a minivan across the country, showing them the important punk rock places. I'm like, look, there's CBGB's, and that's where Sid stabbed Nancy, and there's the Discord House, and so it's a little bit, I have a fantasy that, my kids would care. And I've got, you can't see them here because they're on the other side of me. You see my CDs behind me, but I've got tons of records right here. I'm an avid record collector, and, my kids could give 2 shits about any of that either. I have this fantasy that they're gonna be like, look at all these amazing records. But, they don't know how to play a record. They just know how to press play on Spotify.
Oh man, that's crazy. Yeah, it'd be really hilarious to see you like, there's this song I wrote about this actress. Her name was Drew Barrymore.
Oh God.
I don't know if you know who she is, but
they probably don't. Yeah.
She was something else back then. Now she's like Oprah now, but man, she was
that song makes me blush a little.
Really?
I mean, it's just like it's like so over the top.
I get that
Objectification.
Yeah.
It was nothing subtle or charming or, like especially like, I think if I was going to write a song in a similar vein, I would try and be I was a young man. It's fine. I'm not apologizing. I'm just saying it, makes me blush a little bit at the,
it could be cringy. It could be cringy if you didn't, if
it's a little cringy to me.
Cause my wife totally loves that song and she doesn't find anything, like cringy about it or nothing. Good. So it's like, okay, that's cool.
At the time I was like, oh, well, of course she'll be charmed by the song. With the, 25 years in the rear view, I'm just like, well, maybe she wasn't the most charming message I could convey.
Yeah, I was gonna open up with how did it work out with Drew Barrymore, but
there was a time when she was filming the Scream movie in our town, and somehow somebody who worked at the hotel she was staying at was like, I think I know what room she's in, and I could, if you want me to like put a note under her door, I could do that. And I found the other day, I was looking through some old boxes and I found this letter that I had written her that was like, hey, we're a band and we have this song about you and we just recorded it and the record's about to come out. And if we had your blessing, it would be so meaningful. And we're playing this weekend and we'll put your name on the guest list. And I don't know whether we ever, gave the note to this person to slip under her door. But there's another thing where like, talk about creepy, man. Like poor girl is just, trying to film her movie and make her livelihood. And some band is stalking her and sticking notes under her hotel room door.
You know what though? Like Drew Barrymore was cool back then. She probably probably would have thought it was cool. Like she married Tom Green, dude. That guy was fucking whack, dude. I wrote Joan Osborne. Do you remember who Joan Osborne was?
If God Was One of Us.
Yeah. She wrote this song called Let's Get Naked. Yeah. Uh-huh. And I wrote her a whole letter. I was like 12 years old. Like, I want to marry you and blah. Oh my God, man. Can you imagine?
She have a nose ring?
Yeah. Can you imagine like a 30-year-old woman finding like a letter from a 12-year-old kid?
Well, that sounds cute.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It was pretty creepy.
Back?
No. I'm so glad too.
Joan is dying for fan letters these days. I promise you.
Probably.
I'm teasing. I have no idea what she's up to.
That's on the.
Sure, she has a lovely career. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's cool, man. But dude. I really appreciate you coming on here, dude. We're almost at about an hour, and people just start droning out after that. And I saw the Mike Herrera podcast, dude. Mike, I love Mike, dude. I've seen like every one of his podcasts. I love the guy. His ADHD, his and mine, I feel like so similar. Like he'll just go on a rant, dude, and you'll be like, "What was the initial question?" It was a really good interview. If anyone's watching this, go watch the interview with Mike.
I love Mike. Mike's great. Yeah.
Who's such a good dude, and
I got a funny phone call one night a few years ago, or a text, I think. And it was like a question about something. I didn't have the number programmed into my phone. It just showed up as like, whatever the number. And it was like, hey, just wanted to know about this thing. And there were like a bunch of bands mentioned that I knew or was friendly with. And I was like, who is this? I'm like, I think you have the wrong person, but I know these bands. And he's like, is this Dave Lake? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, hey, it's Mike Herrera. He's like, sorry, I was trying to message Dave, whatever. And like mine was, like right next to, he just like hit the wrong thing. And, we had a laugh about, he like basically accidentally texted me, asked me a question about something else. And we had a laugh about it. So
that's cool, man. So where can everyone find all your stuff, dude? Like, I know I just bought the new album off of Chaos Merch, which is my homie from the Venomous Pinks in Arizona.
Yeah. So the record's out via Spam. There is I think it's Spam, which is SBAM.rocks is their website, or maybe it's shop.spam.rocks. But there's a European store, a US store, and a Canada store, so you can get the LP or CD there. There's 5 different LP variants. Collect them all, and streaming on all the streaming services. We've got diesel-boy.com, and there's links to our social media and our merch stuff and booking contact info. Anything you can want is on dieselboy.com, and don't get them mixed up with the DJ The DJ. Annoyingly, the DJ is still around.
Is he really? Because I went to a rave back in the day, and we saw that Diesel Boy was on, and we're a bunch of punk rockers at a rave, and we were like, "What the fuck, Diesel Boy's here!" And then we were just sadly disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, most people figure it out every once in a while. You know, like I think in Spotify, like somehow, you know, there's a song, like the song, sometimes the metadata gets fucked up, and there's like cross pollination. You know, when we started in when we got signed in 96, you know, we had a lawyer who did like a trademark search or whatever. And so we found him back then in 96, and we had already toured a little and had released some stuff. And so we could have claimed ownership to the name everywhere except his home, which was Pennsylvania. And, you know, we were like, hey, to avoid any confusion, you know, maybe you would consider adding a DJ in front of yours, and you could be DJ Diesel Boy. And his response was, well, why don't you add a punk rock in front of yours? We basically just, you know, we were both small potatoes at the time, you know, and neither of us were like, well, let's try and own it or sue the other one. We were just like, what are you going to do? So we just kind of agreed to disagree. There was at some point when I was working at Microsoft, and he had a new record out, and I was in touch with him or his publicist and was like, dude, we should do a Diesel Boy versus Diesel Boy record. And, you know, I don't know if he actually considered it or whatever, but you know, and I don't really know what that would sound like, frankly, because there's not a lot of overlap in drum and bass and pop punk, but you know, maybe someday.
Yeah, man, that'd be the next.
His is one word, ours is two words, and it occasionally creates confusion. But what are you gonna do?
Oh, I can't even tell you how stoked we were just showing up to this rave, and we're thinking Diesel Boy was gonna play. And then it was like, oh, he goes on at 3 a.m. We're like, what the fuck? And we waited all night, man. We waited all night. We were disappointed, but we were on drugs, so it did not matter.
The good news is you were on ecstasy, and it didn't matter. Yeah.
Well, we thought we bought acid, but what we bought was like ketamine or some shit. This was like back then when it was a new thing. It was not fun, man. It was not fun. But I'm glad those days are fucking gone, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, thank you so much for being on here, dude. And we'll promote it as much as we can. And if you ever have anything else to promote or whatever, just let us know. If you have shows coming up, we'll promote the shit out of it. Whatever you got, man.
Love it. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for remembering the band. Thanks for the nice words about the record and all that. I appreciate it.
For sure. Dude, Cockrock's one of my favorite albums of all time. Will always be. All the other albums are fucking great too, man. Don't get me wrong. But once you have that one nostalgic album, dude, and I mean,
that's the one.
It's crazy to me still that I still sing the Good Riddance song after when I know damn well it should be true, dude.
How ready are you?
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Die within I did. Yeah. Every time, dude. But
played with them on this last tour, and I don't know why we didn't think of that.
That would have been sick, dude. If they would have just came out right after that. Yeah, you guys played with Urethane too, and I just interviewed Steve.
Yeah. We played with a couple of shows with them on this last tour, and you know they're rad dudes, and it's nice to have other old dudes to hang out with on tour. And Steve was a total sweetheart, and
super nice
cool
guy,
band,
man.
super nice guys. Yeah, we had fun with Urethane. It was a good.
And that'd be a great US tour, dude. Urethane, Diesel Boy, and Good Riddance right there, dude. I mean,
absolutely, sign me up.
Especially a California run. I mean, you guys are all from California. So, all right, man. I appreciate it, dude. And you have a great day, man. And keep us posted. Seriously.
Sounds good.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Yeah.
See ya.